Jen!
Good timing.
Hi.
Yay! Jen's got a new name. She's changed her name, so somebody will have
Marilyn.
to rename her in the background. Don't worry, Jen.
Marilyn.
Of that.
Yeah. Hi, Marilyn.
Can't hear anyone. Can anyone hear me?
Yeah.
I get a thumbs up if anyone can hear me.
Yes.
We should warn you, Jen, that we're live. We're just waiting as angels come and join us and come through the door.
I think I just put my bean back on.
I'm getting really thirsty.
I'm sure so are the angels.
Sorry, everyone. I had to do a costume change very quickly.
Rachel's thirsty. She's already hit the chat. Well done, Rachel. Well, I'll introduce us since we are all here now, and hopefully Jen can hear us as well as the other way around. Otherwise, we'll do some sign language, and I'm sure we can hear Jen.
Interpretive dance.
So a big welcome to everybody. Thank you so much for coming along. My name's Alicia, and I am the Managing Director for Naked Wines, and I have the absolute pleasure of, no doubt, the easiest to moderate and to facilitate Octaster event, because the group in front of you are an amazing group, very talented, but also have very good chat. And I think the only issue we'll have tonight is being able to stop anywhere near on time once we get started and once we get talking. And I think, importantly for me to remind everybody, the mission for Naked Wines is really to disrupt the wine industry for the benefit of wine drinkers, the winemakers, and our people at Naked. And it is only with the angel support that we can do that, and that we can bring you such a wonderful collective of tonight women in wine, but also the best winemakers in Australia and New Zealand. And I am sure that all of you joining very much love that and very much love enjoying those wines at home. So I'm very excited to have you all here. We've got everybody from the east to the west and all the way over in New Zealand. It's a little late for New Zealand, so you'll have to keep them entertained. It's just past 10 o'clock there. But what I thought I might do is just quickly go around the room and have everybody introduce themselves. So name and also the brand. Some of the angels may know you by name and some may know you by the brand, or both. And so I'm going to start with my top left, which is Claudia.
Hi, I'm Claudia Small, and I'm one half of Small and Small.
The best half, Claudes?
I would not want to say that. One half cannot exist without the other.
Very good. Very good. That is what we like to hear. Nikki.
Oh, hi, I'm Nikki. I'm from Denali. Oh, I've got the thing on. That's pretty good. Yeah, so I'm from Denali Estate, and yeah.
And we've got Nina and Kate, who are right in the center of my computer. I don't know how they are positioned on everybody else's screens.
Hi, well, Kate and Nina from Two Pairs. I don't usually talk over you that often, do I, Nina?
I'm the quiet one.
And then we've got Caroline. You're on mute, Caroline. I'm going to warn you before you start talking.
Hello, everybody. Caroline Dunn. I'm from Read by Caroline Dunn, and also Dolan and Dunn. Nigel couldn't be here tonight because he's not a female, so.
And we've got Kim all the way in the west.
Guys, Kim from Dreambird. I'm in Margaret River in Western Australia.
And then we head south to Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia from Here's Angels.
That's funny.
I've been waiting for that bloody drink all day.
Elaine says cheers to Cynthia. And Jen, moving slightly north, but not all the way north. We head to Jen, who, though earlier we have seen on her Instagram, if anybody follows her, she was very north. She's been on the moon this week. She's been Marilyn Monroe with quite a bit of air in the skirt. So Jen.
Hello, I am the rocking redhead, Jen Pfeiffer. Hi, everyone. And yes, if anyone has seen my Insta this last few days in preparation for Diamond Day tomorrow, I'm pretty excited. I am drinking Diamond Shiraz, sneak peek for me tonight. And I just have to say, if anyone wants like an insider, we were talking about we should do filming for the angels of all the bloopers, you know, when I create this kind of content. But just so you know, my partner, he was underneath the catwalk with the blower, and he had the blower going to be able to get that air happening for my skirt. So yeah, if anyone hasn't seen it, Rock It Like a Redhead, Jen Pfeiffer, get on it.
So romantic.
Awesome.
It's the proper Instagram partner. You've done very, very well there. And last but not least, not a winemaker, but our wonderful head of wine, Johan. I should let you say hello to everybody as well.
Thank you, Alicia. Yeah, and you know, I feel really honored to be part of this. I as not being a female, but I still managed to sneak in an invitation to join you tonight for this. So very exciting. Hi, angels.
It is awesome to have Johan here, and Johan is the person, or the one who runs the team who get to taste all these wines and to work with the winemakers on a daily basis. So he has probably one of the best jobs at Naked Wines. So if you have the sip along pack with you, then the sip along pack wine tonight is the 2 Pairs Prosecco. So obviously Kate and Nina, I'm sure that you've got some of that there in the background. And so if you want to, it's time to pop that bottle and follow Cynthia's lead and make sure that you have a drink in hand for the remainder of the webinar. So we might two. Erica is said she's already been sipping away on it, and it's absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I think a few of us have started slightly before the webinar and the Octaster event.
Can I interrupt?
You can.
You know, so you know, if that's okay. So Nina and Kate, I quite like your label for the Prosecco. Who came up with that?
Up on the. Can you see that?
We've got a good story behind this one, Jen. When we made it, we showed as well. I don't know if the angels know, but we're both married to identical twins, and we usually just run a few things past the boys when we're designing stuff. And when I showed that one to my husband, he goes, "Yeah, I really like it." He said, "But in the draft one," he goes, "Are you going for 20-year-old butt or 40-year-old butt? Because I think you need to lower it if you're going for 40-year-old butt." So we got a 40-year-old butt on this one.
I don't know. I think mine should be probably another 2 inches lower. But that's exactly what the other identical twin said to me. He was like, "I think the bum's a bit high."
So, you know, it went a bit pear-shaped.
It was that intended.
Cheers to all the angels that are sipping along tonight. We really appreciate it. Sorry, things keep popping up on my computer.
Same.
It's the poll just asking if everybody's partner is as committed as Jen's.
No.
See what the results are. I think Jen, you seem to be doing pretty well there.
So
Oh, you
guys,
know.
I obviously can't drink your wine over here because Naked Art in New Zealand. What does it taste like, the Prosecco? I love Prosecco. Tell us about it.
I'll go. Yeah, so it's kind of a drier style Prosecco. So we our grapes are from 2 different vineyards. One's in the Alpine Valley, which is a really nice, cooler, high altitude kind of area that produces really nice, fine, light but beautiful, delicate notes. And then another parcel from closer to where I am, which is in central Victoria, and that is a richer style Prosecco. So between the two, we find that the balance is just right. So it's got this really nice, delicate notes to it, but also a nice sort of bit more body and a nice crisp and delicate, fresh palate. So that's kind of where it's at. It's a very versatile wine, and we make it in a Charmat method, which means that we don't just carbonate it, which is, you know, putting the bubbles in it. We secondary ferment it. So the yeast actually produce those bubbles, so they're quite fine and delicate as well. So it's quite delicious. We'll have to have one together, Claudia, next time.
I would love to.
It works really well in cocktails as well. We made some cocktails with it the other night, and one especially with a bit of ribby grapefruit, some cardamom gin, and the Prosecco, and a bit of rosemary, wasn't it, Neve? And it was delicious.
Very tasty.
Awesome. Hey, Nina, what grape variety do you use for Prosecco? Maybe it'd be interesting for the angels to know. So is the grape called Prosecco, or?
Yes, it is. The actual the variety is Glera, but it's been called Prosecco as it's named for pretty much, I don't know how long, guys, but since the Italians have been growing it. But there is a little bit of a one of those not problems yet, but hopefully not a problem, but between actually using the name Prosecco as its variety, or whether or not we should change to calling it Glera. But obviously Glera doesn't have quite the same connotation or quite the same kind of feel to it. So we're hoping we can just keep calling it Prosecco, because that is the grape as far as we're concerned.
It won't look as good across the bottom either, will it?
So you could do like marketing with like big sunglasses and like a glass of wine and the glare.
I like that.
Good.
And since bubbles are so many beautiful bubbles that are made within this group, so I'd love to hear about some of the other ones. Like, I know you use Shannon over in WA, Kim.
Yes, I do. I've got a bottle here. So mine's made in a slightly different method. So I use the traditional French method, which means I make a still wine out of the Shannon grapes first, and then it goes to bottling, and we add the yeast and sugar into the bottle and ferment it in the bottle. And that fermentation takes about 8 weeks within the bottle, and then I leave it sitting. So it has the sediment in the bottle, and it sits on that, and that's the yeast, which degrades over time. And that gives it that really lovely sort of bready, delicious yeasty flavour. So the longer you leave it sitting on those leaves, the more flavour that it will develop. So for this one, I leave it for a year, and I've actually opened a 2019, and this hasn't been disgorged. So disgorging is when you tip it upside down, basically, and all the yeast sediment will settle into the neck of the bottle. And then we freeze the neck and bring it back upright, and the pressure will push out the sediment, and then we top it up. And that's what the process of disgorging is. So this has not been disgorged, so it's got the yeast leaves in it still, and it's actually really beautiful. So it hasn't got any addition of sugar and or anything. So it's just the wine, and it's got a lovely sort of yeasty, bready flavour. So it's, yeah, really yummy.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I must admit, I actually don't know if I've tried it, but one of my favourite sparkles is Sin. I love your sparkles. That I think that's because you have plied me with it over the years, and I've been the grateful recipient of that. But yours is a different style.
Vintage port. Nice exchange.
It is.
I think the vintage port would be a worse hangover though.
Yeah.
But yeah, like how does yours differ?
I make mine in what they call the traditional method as well. We're not allowed to say it's champagne, but it's the method champenoise, or we call it here method Tasmanoise. But we have been, I didn't make that one up. We have ours, slowly over the last few years, we've got ours into 2 years on yeast lees. So we're loving those beautiful autolysis characters. And it's funny, Kim, you know, it's kind of macabre what happens in the bottle, but like for something that's so luxurious, but like the yeast die because there's no sugar for them to continue fermenting. And then when they're dead, their bodies break apart and the enzymes come outside of their bodies, and then they start to eat the bodies. And that's what makes all the beautiful brioche character. And so it's kind of macabre, but it's also a luxury product. You know, it's great for Halloween. So yeah, we do the same. Ours is disgorged. So poor David has to do that job for about 6 weeks. He can only do, I think, 333 bottles a day, and it has to be in winter because if we do it in the summertime when he's taking the crown seal off, there's about 8 bars of pressure in there. So that's like a small Molotov cocktail. It's bad. He's worn some stitches. And then we put a little liqueur in there, and the liqueur is sugar based, and sometimes we put older reserve wine in there just to enhance those beautiful rich characters. And the sugar is meant to be just in balance with the acid. So we're not trying to make a sweet wine, we're just trying to make it in balance with that beautiful youthful acid that you get from harvesting sparkling grapes a little bit earlier. And it tastes just as good out of a teacup.
Ethan, what grape varieties do you use for your sparkling?
Currently, we have been using Pinot Noir because that is the largest varietal planted in Tasmania. But from 2021, we will have a bit of Chardonnay, which is my favourite variety. Thanks for asking, Claude. So Chardonnay gives a lovely elegance to sparkling wine. Pinot Noir gives a lot of beautiful mid-palate strawberry fruit, but Chardonnay has that austerity and beautiful long acidity, and lemon curd, and yeah. So we will blend it with Pinot Noir. The other traditional varietal used in Champagne is Pinot Meunier, but there's not much of that planted in Tasmania.
So with the base wine of the Chardonnay and the Pinot, will you ferment them separately and then blend them together, or will you?
No, we pressed them and fermented them separately, and we've got a little bit of oak in both. And then we will bench blend. So we've got about 13 different components to put together. In about a month's time, we'll start thinking about doing our tirage, which is when we make the yeast culture up and then add it to the tank, and it goes through what Kim said, the 8 weeks of fermentation in bottle. And it's a really stressful time, because if you don't grow happy yeast and you end up with dead yeast and sugar in your bottle, it's bad. So we actually have a 7-day culture, and we look at them under the microscope, and we grow them into their billions and maybe trillions, I don't know, like 10 to the 8. And we sing to them, and we also play the music.
What's their favourite song?
It's a lot of Bowie.
Yeah.
And are you hand riddling, or is it automated, or?
Well, no, we're not quite at the automated stage. We have something that's called a star wheel, which is a Spanish star wheel. So it has 8 points on it, and every 45 minutes an alarm goes off on the phone and we knock it. And so it goes around and knocks around 8 times, and it takes 3 days to knock 2 cages. So usually the gyro pallets, which actually are on these giant machines that turn them around, that takes probably a day.
Wow.
Ooh. So it's very, very involved, but very fun.
Very
So
cool.
Sin, your mum and dad went to Tassie back in the 70s, was that right?
Yeah, they were on holiday in 1979. Yeah, from California.
Yeah. So did they ever make sparkling, or was it just you?
No. In fact, they never made sparkling. David and I, when we did the maths on our wedding, it was going to cost $15,000 to have French champagne. And then we didn't have any money. So then we decided to make a barrel of our own, which didn't cost as much and was way more fun. So that's actually how we started to make sparkling wine. Some friends over on the other side of the river at Delamere who make mostly sparkling wine, they allowed us to do the tirage at their place, and it was 2011, and it was a beautiful, great year, and it was a Blanc de Blanc, which is 100% Chardonnay, whereas we make a Blanc de Noir, which means white from red. So that's a white-based wine from Pinot Noir grapes, which are red. And they consumed 16 cases on the day. So I'm really glad we didn't have to buy French. Is it paid for the honeymoon?
That's fantastic.
I wish I was at that wedding. That sounds great.
Hey, Cynthia, just a quick question, just on using Pinot Noir, which is obviously associated with red wines for sparkling. Maybe just clarify that for the Angels, how that works into becoming a beautiful champagne, or how red grapes are used for, white or sparkling making.
Yeah, so great question, Johan. There's correct me if I'm wrong, ladies, but there's probably 3,000 different varieties of grapes in the world. And I think only 5 or 6 actually have red flesh. So all the other red grapes have white flesh. And if you go to the supermarket and eat a red grape, you'll take, or your partner might gently peel the skin off for you, and you'll find that the inside is still white. So all the color is in the skin. And so with our Pinot Noir, we harvest it, and the vineyard is literally 200 meters away from the press. So we get it in as whole bunches, stick it straight into the press and gently press it. And so we don't extract hardly any color, and the color that's in it is not stable. So it often ends up at the bottom of the tank when we rack off the juice.
Right.
If it is, yeah. So luckily with Pinot Noir, however, our vintage rosé, this year we've experimented with a little bit of thyme on skin, just a little tiny bit, because we don't want to get all the flavors that come out of the skin, like the phenolics and the tannin. But when we make a vintage rosé, often in our liqueur, it's actually Pinot Noir, so the same Gypsy Caravan Pinot, and that's what adds the colour to it. So it's still white, even though it's vintage rosé.
Cool, thank you.
Oh,
Hey, so, Sin, before when you said that Chardonnay was your favourite grape variety, I used to play this game with my friends where you're on a desert island, you can pick one grape variety to make wine with for the rest of your life, and you can pick one meat.
Oh.
What would it be? So I have a Chardonnay and pork island with like a Blanc de Blanc spring. It's going to be great. Caroline, what would your island be? What if you could only make one variety?
If I could only drink one variety, it would be Pinot Noir. And dark for sure, no question on that one. But if I could only make one variety, I've got to say Shiraz. I mean, Shiraz is just so close to my heart, and where we live here and where we make wine in the Barossa, Shiraz is king. So yeah, I think if I was only making one variety, it would be Shiraz.
Do you ever make sparkling Shiraz?
I have done in the past, but not for the Angels. I don't know if it's something that the Angels would like, but maybe we can poll them on it. But no, we haven't got one at the moment, but certainly have done in the past. And it's actually, it's a really lovely drink when it's made well, I think. There are some beautiful sparkling Shirazes, and it's always been that fabulous kind of Christmas wine that's very sort of celebratory and goes so well with Christmas meals and things. So yeah, it's lovely.
And 40-degree heat.
Yeah.
Well, you get to chill it a little.
Yeah.
Is it made the same sort of way? Is it like I haven't had too many in New Zealand? It's not overly available to us. So.
Oh yeah, okay.
We don't have a lot of.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you're just starting with a different base wine, so pretty much, not too many differences in how you make it from a white sparkling. But yeah, just starting with something a little bit more solid. Yeah. Oh, so you're making a red base beforehand. Okay. So yes, you're still extracting all the color and everything that you would with a red wine. Yeah.
But Caroline, you don't harvest it earlier though, do you? You actually harvest it does it have higher alcohol than a traditional sparkling?
Well, more so than a white sparkling, yeah. But probably a bit earlier than you would for a red wine. So for a table wine. Sorry, I've got this thing popping up in front of me again. So it really depends on the style that you want to make, but I would probably pick it a little bit earlier than I would for a table wine Shiraz, but certainly higher alcohol than a white. sparkling would be.
Caroline, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So when I started my career a while ago now, you were like, you know, someone that I looked up to and someone I was like, wow, like this woman's pretty amazing. She's made all of these unbelievable wines that have won so many medals and awards. One day I wish I could be like her and, you know, be as successful. So how did you get into wine? I actually don't know.
I actually came into winemaking when I was a mature age student, let's say. I used to work in restaurants. I grew up in Sydney and I worked in sort of the restaurant industry. You may know, like Bathurst Pavilion down at Balmoral, spent a long time there, and decided that I wanted to have a change. So I quit my job at the Bathurst Pavilion and with nowhere to go. And then Ian Riggs, who from Brokenwood in the Hunter Valley, he popped into the restaurant and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I don't know." And he said, "Come up for vintage, come up for 5 days." So I went up for 5 days and stayed for 6 weeks for vintage. And then I was kind of hooked and moved from New South Wales over to South Australia and started studying winemaking and at Adelaide Uni. Yeah, so
and you must have been like super good at it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
That's what we like to hear.
I actually duxed my course at for one week.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to say yes to that one.
It's awesome.
Love it.
Is that why you like ducks so
Christmas
much?
isn't far away. Oh, sorry, Christmas isn't far away. And Jem, I hear you're doing a bit of a Christmas collab or something a bit special.
Yeah. I'll just have to get over my little fangirl moment. Sorry. I've joined forces with another powerhouse from Naked Wines, Sam Plunkett, and we have put together a very special big bottle, which I have here. A little sneak peek for the angels.
Yes.
Wow.
That's a big bottle, which is called the Rebel Effect Shiraz, and Sam has actually just learned what it's like to work with a rebel and a redhead. So I hope he's come out okay with the other side. But it's Sam and I have a really, really long history. We've known, well, I've known Sam all my working career for sure. And years and years ago, my dad used to buy Riesling grapes from Sam's dad. And so we have that connection going back to the 90s. And then Sam, my dad's older than Sam, and Sam and my dad would travel the world together selling wine. And then Sam introduced me to Naked in 2012. And what a good introduction that was. And I think you guys know the rest. But we wanted to, I guess, celebrate that history of collaboration and come together to put together a wine that we hope everyone loves. So it's really exciting. You know, there wasn't too many tears over the blending decisions. You know, as long as Sam agreed with me, it was all okay.
Should be, yeah.
So anyway, I'm looking forward to. It should be, I don't know, when will it be available, Alicia or Johan?
We can't wait. I think it's late November, early December, I believe.
Get it while you can, angels. That's all I'll say. Get it while you can.
Jen, I have to say the label design process was fantastic as well between you and Sam, and I think it turned out great. The label looks stunning. Really happy with it.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, it was fun. There was a one moment I'm sorry if I'm giving too much detail, but there was one moment where one proof came in and Sam rang me and I was just on the phone. No, because I knew exactly what he was going to say. Are we doing this label? I was like, no, I don't want that one. So yeah, we got there in the end. I think it's really reflective of us and, you know, our individual personalities, but also coming together. And, you know, all jokes aside, it actually was a really good process working with Sam. You know, I guess unlike a lot of people here, I don't have a partner that I'm working with making the wine and sharing those decisions. And so to actually go through that process with Sam, and I think when you taste wine with other people in a professional setting and you hear the way they describe the wine, you see it in a different light. And I think we both enjoyed looking at how each of us saw the wines. And really we agreed on quite a lot, to be honest. You know, in putting the bare bones of the blend together, the wines we wanted to put in were really complementary. You know, Sam's wines from the Strathbogie ranges, a little bit cooler area, have really lovely fragrance, are very pretty, more red fruited and spicy. And then mine from Rutherglen, Northeast Victoria, bigger, richer, more powerful. And it just worked. And yeah, when it came to sort of the finishing process for the bottlings, that's probably where we differed a little bit. But yeah, as I said, I think I convinced him to go my way.
Well done.
Can you put the bottle up and show us the label again?
Yeah. How's that?
Doesn't really do
That's
justice.
awesome. It kind of
Oh,
doesn't
cool.
really
Yeah.
do it justice, but
That's
yeah.
the shimmer. Can you see the
Love
shimmer?
it.
There's a nice gloss effect on there. Yeah.
Sparklish.
And what would you have it with on Christmas Day, Jen? What would you serve it with?
A lot of people. So,
Is it a 1.5 Magnum or?
it's 1.5. Yeah. Yeah. So you know, I think that's important now that things are opening up and we can be together. I think it's important to be together and drink wine together. So that's the most important thing to me. Caroline can probably tell me what I should eat with it.
I'm a bit of a pork fan for Christmas, I have to say. So I think if it's a red wine that's going to go well with pork, I'd go down that track. Yeah.
How about you, Ken? Your husband's a chef. What do you guys have for Christmas and what do you drink? And if you say Marin, I'll kill you.
No, we do everything cold for Christmas because Aaron doesn't want to cook at all. So everything's easy. We do lots of seafood, and maybe mum and dad will do a glazed ham, but Aaron really just sits back and goes, I don't want to cook. He doesn't actually do very much cooking at all.
Fair enough.
But no, we have it's a lot of like oysters, prawns, baked ham. That's about it. Like simple. We go to the beach all day and we don't have time to cook. We just go to the beach and surf and chill. So yeah,
I want to move to WA.
Yeah.
pretty good. We're pretty lucky.
I think that the whole of Australia would have liked to be in WA over the past past years. So yeah, Claudia, you're not alone there.
Yeah, we've been very lucky, very blessed. I look around and go, oh my God, what's happening to the world? And just go, we are so lucky. So yes, I'm sorry that you guys have had to deal with so much.
But cheers to all those angels who are free now.
Yes.
Yay.
Awesome. We had a question from the audience. I don't know if anyone want to pick this one up. Can we talk about, Bianca's asking, can we talk about hangover prevention?
Get one glass.
Yeah, exactly. The other night I had a full bottle of rosé, no worries. A few days before I had 2 glasses of Pinot Noir, felt horrendous all the next day. It's hit and miss though. Sometimes I can have a full bottle of red and feel fine. What should I look for if I want to feel alive the next day? Anyone got any theories here?
I think it just depends on how much water you've drunk and how much food you've eaten. You know what I mean? Like those probably are one of the most important things. Yeah.
So not the actual wine itself, Nikki.
I don't think so.
More
Like
other
some people
factors,
say
yeah.
sulfites and things like that, like the whites have got higher sulfites than reds, but yeah, I think it just depends on, like, sometimes you just have a couple of glasses, you feel fine, and sometimes you could have a couple of glasses and go, oh goodness, yeah, it's really gone to my head, right? Like happens to me like every other day. Yeah.
That's just the
older
breakfast wine.
Sometimes older wines have less free sulfur. So if you can find something that's got a little bit of age on it, that won't have as much free sulfur in it. Or you can get those little tablets that you can crack into it. The peroxide tablets. I have never tried one of those. Have any of you guys tried one of those?
I just don't think it's healthy drinking peroxide. I just
Yeah. I use it for my hair.
Maybe.
And the best thing, if you actually do end up with a hangover, the very best thing is to go out for lunch and have a prawn laksa or a chicken laksa, something really nice and spicy, and that'll knock it all out of you.
And another glass of wine. I always find another glass of wine helps.
Bill always goes running, and I just think that is horrendous. Like, oh.
There's been a request here for a Christmas cookbook from our winemakers. I think Jen's going to take that to a naked calendar, which is a naked wines calendar, not just a naked calendar. We'll see. But,
What you got to come as Marilyn though, Jen. That picture's epic. I love it.
Yes, it's a great picture.
Does anybody have a particularly favorite food and wine moment that they just reminisce about? They can taste the wine, they can taste the food, they can, feel the scenery around them. Has anybody got anything that maybe it's traveled, maybe it's at home?
I have one which is really obvious. Like I feel a bit silly even bringing it up, but whenever anyone talks about that, so Mulberry Sauvignon Blanc and seafood, shellfish, and I had my best girlfriend from high school visiting with her husband a few years ago, and they're not really drinkers, unlike the rest of my friends. And anyway, we did this big pot of local cloudy bay clams with like garlic and a little bit of chili and parsley and a bit of wine, and so we had this big pot on our bench, and we just put the pot on the bench, and we had a bottle of our Sylvia Reserve Sauvignon Blanc with these non-drinkers, and I swear in about 10 minutes we like inhaled the whole thing, and the glasses were all like covered with like delicious clam juices, and it always really sticks with me, that like beautiful zest punchy Sauvignon with that sort of salty briny garlic. Oh, it was so good. So good.
Sounds amazing. Every time
I come around to your house.
We can do that on a long weekend.
Just around the corner, okay?
Yeah. We'll meet halfway, like put a fire on the sidewalk or something.
Well, that sounds amazing. Anybody else from anywhere else in the world as the world starts to open back up?
I had a good one when I was about, I think I must have been like 23 or something when I graduated, and I did my first vintage overseas in Barolo, and I was so nervous about sort of going to this amazing wine region, drinking these amazing wines, and being among people that obviously lived and breathed it. So I felt already a bit sort of intimidated by it all. And I landed, and we went and sat down and had lunch all together, and I was thinking, oh God, I hope like people don't sort of ask questions about the wine or ask me to describe it or something. And they came out with this beautiful bottle of Nebbiolo, which I was like, it's my favorite variety probably of all time, and would definitely be my desert island wine, although maybe Prosecco, just because it's a more everyday one. And yeah, they poured this Nebbiolo out, and no one talked about the wine at all, but everyone was enjoying it so much. And it was such a big group of people, because it was all the vineyard guys and the winery guys, and everyone sitting around and drinking out of just plastic, like little plastic cups, basically. This beautiful bottle of Barolo, and it was just such a reminder that it's about great quality and just being with people and enjoying it, not sort of making a big you know, fuss about it all the time. It's just a beautiful product that we get to enjoy, just like that, just a simple, lovely thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had a similar experience in France when I was young, like 21, I think, and I was going over there for my first ever vintage. So I'd never worked in a winery before, and the tradition every day was to have smoko, which was called casse-coude, at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and they'd sit there and they'd open. The older French guys would drink this aniseed liqueur, but they'd open a red or a white for us, and we'd sit there and just have baguette and saucisson and just having that wine and bread, and just like, it was so amazing, just so simple, but, you know, just always sticks with me, and all those memories of like, we'd stop and have lunch and we'd have a big, you know, lots of cheese and wine. It was just really simple, but yeah, just always sticks with me, just that simple deliciousness is, yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
But whereabouts in France was that?
That was at Beaujolais, Saint-Étienne-la-Varenne.
Blizzard, Chateau de Blizzard.
Yeah, that's the one. Did you go there?
Yeah. Yeah. I drank the pastis.
Oh.
Doubles.
With what was his name? The old
Alain.
guy.
Alain? Simon.
Yeah.
Simon. Yeah. Yeah. I had double pasties because on the first day though I was there, they were like, you don't know how to pour a shot because you're a woman. And I was like, well, not only can I pour a shot, but I'm pouring doubles. And so that was it. I had to drink doubles for the entire double pastis for the rest of the vintage. I was hammered.
Good on you, Jen.
I think I was drunk the whole 8 weeks I was there.
Don't you just love, like, I remember when I did my few vintages in Burgundy, I just love the way that they do, like you said, the casse-croûte at 10:30, so you're eating and drinking then, and then all the vineyard workers come in and all the winery workers come in, and there's like a full lunch. Like we used to have like a 3-course lunch. You know, you'd have your entree, your main, and definitely the cheese course, obviously all with wine, and you'd go back to work, and then you'd finish like by 6 o'clock. They would never do anything after 6 o'clock, and then we'd all go and sit together in the cabs having dinner together, and it was just the best experience. I loved that. And like you said, simple food, simple wines. I took a thing of Vegemite over and made them all eat that, and they hated it. It was quite funny watching them try that.
I had a great experience in Bordeaux, in France as well, where I was served Chateau Yquem, which is incredibly sweet, with a chicken liver pate. So normally you might think you're going to have a sweet one with something sweet, but this pairing was so perfect, and so out of anything that I think I'd ever had in Australia. And I often think about, don't always just think that white goes with white meat, or red goes with red meat, or sweet goes with dessert, or, you know, you could, and that was at the beginning of the meal. So we had the dessert one with pate and at the beginning of the meal, and it was just like, yeah, this works. I could do this every day.
Yeah, I remember a great lunch that I had when I was in Spain. We were visiting a cork company, and the guys there said they were going to take us out for lunch, and they told us that we were going to drive for a while, but then we were going to eat nails for lunch. And we were like, we're trying to be polite and just not ask. We didn't know what they were talking about, and they kept saying, "Oh, we're going to the place where they have great nails." And we eventually turned up at this place that was about 30 kilometres away from where we were, just outside of Barcelona somewhere, and it was snails, and this restaurant had this massive, great big snail on the top of it. And when we walked in there, we were expecting the kind of like the French style of snails, but it was completely different, and they were just like these big baking dishes full of these tiny little snails. They kind of looked a little bit like pippies. And they were just baked in the oven with this amazing garlicky, tomatoey stuff, and they just throw this baking dish down in the middle of the table, and everybody just got a toothpick, and you could just sit there eating these amazing little baby snails with a toothpick, and there were just piles of shells everywhere, and drinking Spanish Grenache out of a jam jar, basically. And it was just one of the most fabulous lunches. It was just wonderful.
It's incredible to see them when they're preparing those snails, because I came home, I was living in these people's house when I was in France, and I came home one day and there was a box outside and it was full of snails and French bread, and they feed the French bread to clean the systems out for like 3 weeks. They replenish the bread, and they'll come in every day and replenish this bread, and these snails will get fatter and bigger, and yeah, it was. And then I was just going, oh gosh, I hope they don't think I'm going to eat these snails, like they're like my pets now. Yeah. Yeah, it was really interesting. Yeah, to see how they prepare them. Yeah.
So for me in winemaking, like I reckon one of the best things about this industry is the travel and working all over the world, and the food and wine experiences and people I've met. But I'd love to know what you guys love about the wine industry as well, and what Neen, what's your why do you love it so much?
I probably like the diversity of the job, like that you can be in vineyards, looking at crops and sort of in the agricultural side, and you can also be then next day in the winery crushing grapes, basically fermenting things, microbiology. Then you can be thinking about label design, you can be talking about the sales side, and it's just such a such a varied, interesting job, and such amazing people at every level, every sort of area of the job. What about you, Claude? I'll pass it around.
I love the variety because I get bored easily. But I also really like that close link with agriculture and the fact that no season is the same. And I enjoy how you always sort of have to be on your toes, because the bad thing that happened last year isn't going to happen this year. It's going to be a new bad thing, or maybe something good. I mean, but yeah, but no, I really like that link to agriculture, climate, and yeah, I just really enjoy working in vineyards, which is lucky, really, when you think about it. Nikki, what about you?
Yeah, I think also like you're just connected with so many different people, right? And and you get to sort of sit around and talk, and it's like something tangible. Like wine's tangible, and you've made something at the end of the day, something that you can be proud of, and you can share with people, and you can talk about. And I think it's really cool. Like, it's just you can be something to be proud of that you've done and achieved, and do better next year, or change something up, or there's always something going on, isn't there? Like it's never it's never it's always exciting. How about you, Caroline?
I love the blend of art and science in winemaking. I really enjoy that. I'm with Claudia as well on the agriculture side of things. I love just to see how the weather. I grew up in Sydney, and I, wine came in a bottle when I was younger. I had no idea about it, and so for me, being out and sort of learning about how the seasons change and things like that, I love that. But when it comes to actually making wine, I just love that ability to. I've got a bit of a dorky science brain, but I also love to be creative, and I love the fact that you can just sort of let go and let your intuition take over and be creative when you're blending wines. And Jen, what do you like about it?
Well, I think everyone's talked a lot about what I like about wine as well. But I think, maybe what I'd like to say is why I love being a naked winemaker. For me, naked has been like this incredible journey where, through the support of us as individuals, we have been able to truly express ourselves through our wines. And for me, that is an amazing feeling, because I've got a lot to express. I think just that sort of that feeling of creative freedom, that spirit of collaboration is pretty amazing about Naked. And then, I mean, the other thing I think that's just so unbelievable about Naked is the community. And, you know, I have had, you know, I have lifelong friends because of Naked who are angels, who are winemakers, you know, who are staff, AK, out to you. You know, I just think the community is pretty amazing. And just so you know, because of Naked, I got to go to Tassie and stay in the Gypsy Caravan. Hey, maybe the only person.
That was so much fun. We need to do a repeat.
What about you, Sid? Why do you like being a naked winemaker? Why do you love being a naked winemaker?
Well, firstly, I love being a winemaker because like there are so few jobs where you get to use your nose and your mouth all the time. And I think that so many people walk around not smelling and not tasting the world, and you can actually taste and smell the world, and it's the same as seeing or hearing and touching. So for me, you know, you can story tell through a taste, and you know what's going on through your nose as well. So that being connected to those two senses for me are really, really important. And I'm trying to teach my kids how to be connected to those two senses as well. Just through, you know, there's bad smells and good smells. You know, I mean, rarely do we put our nose into a glass and go, oh, that smells like grapes. Yeah, just don't. But I mean, and the funny thing is women have a better ability to decipher what is in the aromatics to what is in their memory and their brain, because we do the majority of the cooking and the shopping, and we can go and, you know, smell the tomato, smell the cantaloupe, smell the different things, and then we see them so many more times that we could repeat it more often. But I guess what I love about the smells and the aromas is that it reminds you of a place. So a smell can take you back to a memory, which is, you know, is one of those amazing places that you might have forgotten had you not smelt that or tasted that. So that's my favorite part of winemaking. And I guess what I love about being a naked winemaker is that I had no idea what I was getting myself into so long ago, and it's so freaking awesome. Like, I mean, it's helped us and our little family so much. I love it when we can kind of go, right, let's upgrade some equipment. You know, let's, you know, our wines are we don't make a lot of them. They're only small amounts, but what it is for us is Tasmania is, people don't get to see a lot of Tasmanian wine, and so Naked is able to offer Tasmanian wine to people. Most of the wine that is made on the island is drunk on the island, and so you only get large corporations in your bottle shops. And so, yeah, this allows other people to come and go, oh my God, it's a Tasmanian wine and it's at a great price. And so they have an ability to try it. So it's sharing the Tasmanian love. What about you, Kim?
I think, yeah, you guys have summed it up beautifully. I love because I'm a bit of a science nerd like you, Caroline, but I'm also quite arty. So I love that blend of everything. You know, it all comes together. And I also love the fact that, you know, it's always different. There's always a challenge. Every year something changes. You know, it could be the weather, it could be whatever it is. There's always something that comes up and it's a challenge and it's different. And, you know, it's always, you know, it's never the same. So there's always something different to do. And I love the fact that we get to talk to our customers like one-on-one, like that's amazing, like having feedback from them and finding out what they loved about, you know, the wine or the story behind the wine or whatever it is. I love being able to chat to them, and that's a pretty amazing thing about Naked. So you don't really get that with any other avenue of selling your wine. So yeah, I think it's fantastic, and I'm so happy to be a part of Naked, and I feel really blessed because, you know, as a mum and a wife of a busy chef who doesn't have much time to look after the kids, I can do all my winemaking while having the kids, you know, being home for the kids as well. So that's another, you know, fantastic part of it that, you know, lots of women wouldn't have that opportunity to do. So yeah, pretty much.
Yes to that, I say.
Yeah, did all that beautifully.
Yeah, well done, girls.
Yes to you, girls. And on that, I just wanted to find out where everybody is situated, because I'm in WA and I'm quite isolated, especially at the moment when I'm allowed to leave. And I've made wine in WA pretty much all my life, so I haven't really explored anywhere else. So I'd love to find out where you guys are all situated. So why don't we kick off with Kate and Nina? Where are you guys based?
I'm in central Victoria, near the Talbot Ranges, near Seymour, or Yea, if anybody knows it.
Wait,
yeah.
was that near the earthquake?
Yeah, not far, not far. We felt it pretty intensely here. But
That was
and
exciting for me because I don't expect it for you guys.
No, I know. And Kate, you're in Mudgee.
I'm based in Mudgee in New South Wales. I don't actually make any wine here in Mudgee, but it's a beautiful place in the world to live, and there's some really fantastic vineyards here. But I obviously have a real passion and have worked a lot with McLaren Vale, where I was previously before starting with Naked. And so, you know, and that's another great thing about winemaking. I think, well, before COVID, it's great that you can, you know, make wine, like Nina and I make wine in Victoria, in New South Wales, and in South Australia. So it's pretty awesome to be able to, you know, be able to go between all the regions there. And I'll pass on to you, Claude.
Well, because I was actually going to say, because Nina and I actually first met each other in Marlborough when Nina was here, you know, in the promised land making Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc. I was thinking, did we meet at the BBC, the Blenheim Badminton Club?
Yeah.
An unofficial club that a friend of ours put together, and it involved playing very bad badminton, and you had to wear white and you drank Pimm's.
Nice. Okay.
There might be a photo somewhere that I should find one day.
No.
Definitely.
So I'm from Marlborough, so top of the South Island, on the East Coast, just around the corner from Nikki.
Yeah, so I live in Marlborough, but I make wine with my father, Peter, and we source all our fruit from Whiteborough. My family had an estate down there for 25 years, but Dad's now trying to retire, so they've just sold up and moved to Blenheim, just around the corner as well, because Blenheim's not very big.
No.
Everyone lives pretty close. Yeah, so we make our wine from Whiteborough, which is about 60 minutes north of Christchurch. It's really small. It's about 1,000 hectares, so it's really tiny in this whole scheme of things. But yeah, but it makes some really interesting wines, and yeah, and it's awesome. So yeah. How about you, Caroline? Whereabouts are you based?
I'm in the Barossa Valley, the beautiful Barossa you can see behind me. Such a lovely day. But, so yeah, based in the Barossa, and all of my wines are from the Barossa, and the wines that I make with Nigel for Dolan and Dunn, we also make some from Langhorne Creek, which is, so we're Barossa's about an hour, just over an hour north of Adelaide, and Langhorne Creek is just over an hour south of Adelaide. So we're actually pretty lucky. We've probably had about 3 more days lockdown than Kim has, but pretty much been free and easy over here as well. So we feel for you guys over there. But yeah, the Barossa is a very beautiful place. I moved here probably about 20 years ago now, and I've really felt at home here. But one day I hope to get back to New South Wales. So that's where my heart really is. Yeah.
Where would you make wine if you could in New South Wales? What's your favourite spot?
Well, so that's the tough thing about it, is that, you know, I really want to move back there, and my mum lives on the south coast in Gerringong, and you know, I love the beach and would love to be down there, but then I sort of think, well, where would I make wine? And there are some great regions, but I'm so hooked on South Australian regions at the moment that I feel like, oh, I don't know, but love the Hunter. Yeah, cut my teeth in winemaking in the Hunter, so yeah, that's always a possibility. Yeah. What about you, Cynthia? Where are you?
Well, our GI is Tasmania. Which is
There only one GI for all of Tasmania.
And I'm right here in the cleavage. So, yeah. So that little bit that comes down there is the river. It's an estuary. So I'm in the north of the Love Heart. And it's kind of funny because Tasmania is so small. We make about 1% of Australia's crush. So it's really, really, really tiny, although there's a lot of grapes going in right now. So I think that might change. But we all know that there's lots of different areas of Tasmania, but we have to market ourselves as Tasmania. So I would be in the Tamar Valley. And even the Tamar Valley, it's a huge region. So I'm in the West Tamar. We are a little bit warmer. We grow Pinot and Chardonnay, but we can also ripen varietals like Syrah and Cabernet. But then on the other side, on the east side, is the Pipers River, and that's renowned for mostly sparkling production. So for example, a lot of the Jantz fruit comes from out there, and that's probably the best known brand out of Tasmania, besides the Gypsy, of course. Yeah, so little Tasmania, it's a pretty hot spot right now. It's actually not, it's freaking cold. But it's, in terms of people coming here, I don't know what's happened. Like, people might think there might be Armageddon or something because there's so many people moving here. But yeah, I think there's a lot of we have a lot of investment going in with vineyards, particularly from large companies on the mainland. So that's basically saying that they think that Tasmania is a great place to invest. So I think we're going to get bigger. Our little island will get bigger.
Sorry, was that a great place to invest or a great place to infest?
No. Yeah. I think you're there infesting, but nice pick up, Caroline. Yeah.
And what about you, Jen?
And Jen.
Yes, Jen.
So I'm from Rutherglen, which is in northeast Victoria, right on the Victorian side of the Murray River. In fact, one of our vineyards backs onto the mighty Murray. For those of you who don't know much about Rutherglen, Rutherglen's one of Australia's oldest wine regions. It was established in the 1850s. Around the time there's lots of exploration with gold hunting, I suppose, or gold mining. And yeah, so a lot of the people who came and settled in Rutherglen were German and French settlers, and so brought their love of wine, their interest of wine, and their winemaking nous to the region. And the wine industry absolutely boomed. So I think, Nikki, you said Waipara. How many hectares is there in Waipara? 1,000?
About 1,000 hectares, yeah.
So Rutherglen's about 650 today, but in its heydays in the late 1800s, it was around 3,000 hectares, and it produced the bulk of the wine that was made in Australia. And the reason for that, I guess, is because of our links to fortified wines, because certainly, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, there wasn't the technology that we all get to enjoy today. There certainly wasn't, the luxury of refrigeration or anything like that. And so fortification was a great way to preserve the wines. And so fortified wines were exported all over the world in barrels, in flagons, probably a few bottles as well. And the Rutherglen wine industry just grew and grew and grew and grew. And there's a lot of that sort of history and legacy still in our region today. Old buildings, but more importantly, wineries and winemaking families that have been passed down from generation to generation. And this knowledge and this skill of this very specialized wine style that gets passed down. And that's pretty special to be part of something like that. You know, I think, you know, when we had the chat about art and science, fortified winemaking in my mind is nearly all art and not, you know, a little bit of science, but you know, the skill really is in your blending. And one of the things that being a fortified winemaker teaches you, I think, better than anything else, is how to blend wine and how to find balance. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
What's your best match with a fortified, Jen? Is it a specific cheese, or is there something else that you would have it? Because I really love fortified, but I don't drink enough of it. I need to get into it more. I'd love to get your feedback on that.
Yeah, that's right. You just need to hang out with me on a bus.
I
know. Fortified on a bus. There's a hot tip for everyone. But so how do you drink it? But it's pretty easy for me. You know, I always have a bottle of fortified, at least one, on the go. And to make life very simple, I just have it on the floor next to my lounge chair, so that of an evening when my glass is empty, I don't even have to get up. I just reach down and grab my muscat or my tawny and fill it up and have my little nightcap like that. But in terms of food, it does depend a lot on which fortified wine you're having. But you know, fortifieds are very strong in flavor, so they can, you know, in terms of cheeses, they really like strong cheeses. You know, like quite a bitey aged cheddar or a strong blue is often a really good pair. We once had quite a function, and we got a wheel of goat's cheese, hard goat's cheese, and we steeped that in topake for a week. So we just kept pouring the topake, and it kept absorbing into the cheese more and more and more. And then we served that obviously with the wine, and that was pretty memorable.
When are you going to do that for us all, please? That sounds amazing.
When you come to Rutherglen, Kate.
I was going to. Hopefully, after unfortunately 2 years of not being able to have our physical tastings and our tastings tour where you all get together and angels can come and see you, or we'll hopefully we're able to do that next year. I'm sure that we'll be able to pull it together. We keep rebooking the venues at every chance that we get to take up some dates and get that sorted. But I think for everybody here, there'll be a bus tour for you, so you'll more than likely get fortified on a bus, so you can bring that, and then I think we can sort out the cheese. But hopefully for the angels as well, we're able to do this in person. I think it's absolutely awesome to be able to connect directly with you, and it's lovely to do it virtually, and you know, rather easy relatively to do it with New Zealand through to WA and all the different time zones, but nothing like actually getting together and sharing a glass of wine and speaking in person. So hopefully next year we're able to do that. We're going to have to wrap up soon. It's getting very late now in New Zealand, but I just wanted to close with one thing and a question for you all, and I'm not sure who will have the advice, but when I look around this virtual room and I see the talent, I see the awards, I see the creativity, the science, the experiences, you know, in Australia, New Zealand, and globally. I'm really thrilled to have you as some of the women that we have in wine in the Naked winemaking cohort. And I just wondered if you had any advice for someone looking to get into the industry, what that would be. And yeah, any closing thoughts on bringing women into the industry, or anyone into the industry, and what advice you might have?
Be a viticulturalist.
Yeah, just do a vintage, give it a go. Or just that's how most of us got started, was just either doing some vineyard work or doing a vintage, and once you're in, I think you get hooked, right? Like it's an incredible ride.
Or you discover you don't like it, and that's also a good, you know.
Some of the best advice is find out whether you like something or not very quickly.
Yeah,
very much so.
I reckon also that, like, the people are always wanting to share their knowledge, and you know, I've had lots of really amazing mentors, both men and women, and you know, even right here, like, you know, people that you can call on and ask for advice. And I think realizing that we're all sort of in the same boat, we're all learning still, and it's it's a fantastic industry. I think anybody should have a crack if they're interested in science and like getting dirty, pretty much.
Do a pruning season and do a vintage, and then you'll know if you like it or not.
But don't forget, a robot can never take your job. So, you know, it's very hard to make wine from water, just water, and trust yourself. Yeah, and basically wine is used in celebration and in commiseration. So we should always have it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I absolutely love that. Well,
what a great finish.
exactly. We should
Well done.
I think there's lots of comments coming through. Grades has said it's an awesome catch up and with some awesome girls and brilliant winemakers, loving the stories, and there's lots of thank yous and great nights. But I think cheers to you all. Thank you so much for spending the time with us, and thank you, Angels, for spending the time with us as well. It's absolutely amazing, and there's links to all of the wonderful women in wine that we've got here in the chat. So find them, talk to them on their walls through Naked, and support them, buy their wines, and yeah, make sure that we can continue to support the wonderful women in wine. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.